What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into the Hot List. I come to y'all Monday through Friday around 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. We hang out and we talk real estate. We talk real estate questions, concerns, or some other topic and answer a question of the day that is submitted by a listener of the podcast. If you're interested in submitting a question, all you have to do is shoot it to me here on Facebook or YouTube, whatever podcast player that you are currently listening to this. Make sure that you drop it in the comments and it will absolutely get to me. I will not only answer that question for you, but I will use that for future episodes just like this one, because if you have some type of real estate question or concern, you're not sure where to start, I would love to be the real estate resource that you reach out to and start with. From there, hopefully, I give you a start. You can use that to springboard onto more in depth or more detailed conversations or research. And you can dive as deep as you need to with that conversation. So, for those listening live, no, it is not 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. I am about an hour early, and that is because I have a meeting coming up at 12 o'clock. So I wanted to make sure that I get this out and I get this done for y'all. And that way you're able to watch this. You can watch the replay while you're eating lunch. So the question of the day today: is it time to add a home gym? Now, I've had this question come up several times. I have no doubt over the last 2 years with COVID and everything else just kind of snowballing, that this is something that you may have considered as well. I personally never really gave much thought to it because I have a gym membership and I also have a home gym. So hopefully you were able to see the pictures on my page of the home gym I have. My setup is pretty simple, and we're going to talk about how in depth you need to go. For example, my setup, I've got a power rack that has a pulley system on it. I've got an adjustable bench for decline, flat, incline. It has an adapter on it for preacher curls, for leg extensions. I have adjustable dumbbells. I have some kettlebells, and then I have an elliptical and a treadmill. So I have all of that, and my setup is in a room that's approximately 12 by 13, or in an area. So I figured it was time to answer this question and go, go into some detail and maybe just where to start, because I'm sure you know by now winter and springtime are typically great times excuse me, for some type of indoor remodel or construction projects. Usually the materials are cheaper. Obviously, they're not right now. As well as contractors looking for some type of project to hold them over till warmer weather. So, whether you find something in this that you can pick as a DIY project, maybe you want to just keep yourself busy with the cold weather outside, and that's what a lot of homeowners look for this time of year, is some type of either add-on or remodel to keep them busy, maybe keep them from just doing Netflix and chill too much, or reduce cabin fever. Obviously, over the last 2 years, uh, there's a number of areas that have really jumped out at people to improve on. That is home offices, flex space for kids, and home gyms. Now we've covered the home office and we've covered the flex space a couple times. So I thought it was time to go into detail about the home gym and Many have converted or at least talked about converting some unused basement space or garage space, and doing this is going to allow you for a wide range of workouts. You've got cardio equipment like treadmills, ellipticals, maybe bikes or battle ropes. You can do weight training in there. You can do HIIT workouts. There's a number of different areas that you can do. It all depends on what your goals are. And maybe you considered adding a home gym yourself, either as converting some type of room or space that isn't used right now, or maybe even adding on an exterior building like a shed. Today we're going to take a closer look at what it takes to start this project, and help determine if maybe this is your year to add the home gym. So, in answering the question, is it time to add a home gym? We're going to talk about 3 need to knows when adding a home gym. Number 1, as always, we're going to start with the basics. So, we're going to start with home gym basics. Most of us, when we picture a home gym, we picture some elaborate space with big, bulky equipment, maybe some mirrors hanging on the wall. And first thing that comes to mind is, that's a lot to spend. Is all of that really necessary? Or maybe it sounds kind of intimidating because of all of that equipment. I would venture to guess that much of this is unneeded or unnecessary at this time for a lot of people. And having an over the top gym area in your home could also make it hard to sell, because now it's become a specialized and personalized room. Again, this is assuming if you're deciding to sell in the near future. So what I would recommend is having a home gym with a much simpler breakdown. Excuse me. I've already kind of given you a breakdown of what my home gym looks like, and it requires much less of an area and space to be functional than you might think. So, when talking about basics of what you're going to need, obviously you're going to need some floor space. I mean, I included that for obvious reasons. Good ventilation, whether that is ventilation from your air ducts for heating or cooling, depending on the time of the year, or if you have some type of fan or window setup. You'll need some areas for storage, some foam padding on the floor, which I would definitely recommend, and maybe some electricity. With that said, this can be done with just a corner of the basement or a space in your garage, maybe even a small shed. If you decide to go full room conversion and just crank it up, these basics are still going to apply. You can just do it on a little bit larger scale. And number 2, when it comes to designing your gym, obviously no home gyms are the same. They will have some similarities in common. The biggest thing I would absolutely recommend is starting with some foam padding on the floor. This is not only going to absorb some impact from weights, it's also going to reduce noise, which reduces the chance that your spouse yells at you at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning for working out because you're making too much noise. Just saying. The best way to deal with this and accomplish this is actually going to be by creating a design or plan. If you plan ahead with where you want to put your treadmill or your elliptical, just know that you're going to need access to power. If you don't have access to power, obviously you can call an electrician, they can run power into it, problem solved. But maybe you'll need something else. Are you going to have a squat rack, dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells? How many weights are you going to need? On plus, when you're not using that, where are you going to store all of the equipment? Do you want to store them in cabinets? Do you want to store them in totes? What about time for cleanup? Are you going to have an area for dirty towels or your clothes? I mean, all of these are good to keep in mind. And just to reiterate again, ventilation. This is going to be important, especially this time of year. Uh, you know, if it's cold like it is in my basement this time of year, it's at least 10 degrees colder, if not more. And having those vents in the ductwork to provide a little bit of heat is absolutely amazing. The other option is, while I don't have any windows, I do have fans set up down there. So if I'm on the elliptical or the treadmill or just working out, I'll have a fan going on a low speed just to kind of circulate some air. So this is kind of either what might be considered a normal setup or maybe a larger setup. So what if you want to scale it down? I mean, the basics are still going to apply. Obviously, just, shrink it down. Instead of a full room like we just talked about, I've seen a number of areas that have a setup just on one wall that leads into a corner. And that corner is where they have a number of their storage, like the totes that we mentioned. Maybe you want a TV somewhere on the shelf or in the corner. Maybe this will help you pass the time if you're on the elliptical or the treadmill, or there's some type of follow along workouts or exercise videos that you want to watch. Then that gives you another option as well. And if you don't have windows like I do, some type of standing fan, oscillating fan will do just fine. Even with minimal changes, like I just kind of hit on, this is going to create an effective workout area, and it's going to give you that space that as soon as you walk in, you know that it's time to work out and exercise. It's not time to think about what you have to do today, uh, how much laundry is going to have to be done. Do I have to do the dishes? What do I have to clean? Step into that space with the mindset ready to go. And finally, number 3 on the list, building your home gym. Again, I just want to reiterate that this project can be as large or as small as you want it to be. Even with minimal plans, you will need to make some type of adjustments to the environment, whether it's in a spare bedroom, basement, or garage. Other option, like we've talked multiple times, you could bring in a designer to help rearrange some items in a smaller space to try to maximize everything. And when building your gym, especially starting out, there's 3 areas that you want to consider. You you want it to be good, you want it to be useful, and you want it to be cheap, especially to start with, right? So when building it, you need to decide what type of training will you be doing or do you want to grow into. If you don't know where you're going, you're not going to have an idea of where to start, and maybe you're just going to be wasting your money on a bunch of equipment that's just going to sit and gather dust. So are you going to be doing some type of weight training, biking, CrossFit, marathon training? This is going to make a difference with what type of equipment that you're going to want to build and achieve to achieve that goal. Next is what is the minimum amount of equipment that you're going to need or that you're going to be able to have in this space. Along with that, what is the minimum amount of money that you can spend to maximize the equipment and your training? Because when it comes down to figuring out your goals, do you want to get bigger, stronger, faster? Do you want to get thinner and lean out with weight loss being your goal? This is going to determine what type of equipment that you're going to need, like a squat rack, pull-up bar, barbell, etc., versus maybe just a some type of stationary bike or a magnetic bike trainer that you can put your road bike or mountain bike on. I would also look at purchasing used equipment, especially right now. Craigslist, Facebook, you can get used workout equipment for fairly cheap because I mean, if it at some point if it's collecting dust or just taking up space, people are ready to get rid of it and just rid out. So you can pick up very functional, usable equipment for cheap, either on Craigslist or Facebook. The other option, if you want to get new equipment that is just starting out, there are a number of options on Amazon. There's on Amazon, there's videos and tutorials of what you could pick up for $500, $800, $1,000, whatever it is, wherever you want to start, whatever your budget is. This is going to give you an option and at least give you somewhere to start in a space that's going to be your own, that you can go, that may, if you can't go to the gym, maybe you have the option to just go to that space and not think about what you have to do that day, how much laundry is piled up, where do I have to take the kids. That's going to be your space, your time. So make it your own and make it usable and functional so that you're going to continue to visit that space every day. So that is going to wrap it up with the 3 need to knows for adding a home gym. Again, number 1 was the basics. You don't have to picture a big elaborate space. You can get it done with just a little bit of floor space, some ventilation, storage, and some padding. When it comes to designing your gym, you know that your idea of a home gym isn't going to be the same as mine. The one thing that I would recommend in every gym, foam padding on the floor. Again, that's going to reduce the impact, which is going to reduce the noise, which is going to reduce the chance that your spouse yells at you at 4:30 in the morning for working out. Just saying. And then when it comes to building your gym, you need to know what type of training that you're going to start with and what you want it to evolve into. Are your goals to get bigger, stronger, and faster? Or maybe you want to lean out, get thinner, and weight loss. This will give you an idea of what equipment you need, because for getting bigger, stronger, and faster is not necessarily going to be the same equipment as thinning out and weight loss. It depends on what your goals are going to be, how much space you want to take up and create. And of course, look at used equipment. Used equipment is for sale all the time on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Capitalize on that, take advantage of it, and make your own space. I would also like to add I would love to see what type of home gym setup that you guys have. Take some pictures of it, drop it in the comments. I would love to see it, hear from you as far as what you think of what we've covered here, what yours looks like, what I missed. Tell me what I missed in the comments that every home gym should have. So that's going to wrap it up for me and the question of the day. Again, I'm your host, Matt Johnson with Keller Williams Realty. I do this because your experience matters and should be trusted with the veteran. Y'all have a phenomenal Friday, a phenomenal weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Take care.